everybody, welcome back to 𝘿𝙚𝙠. Today we have an video for you called the Threshing Transmitter featuring our Aggron V from Brilliant Stars with the Merciless Strike attack doing 150 base damage plus 150 more if your opponent has any damage counter on their active Pokemon. So it is 5 energy attack cost, very heavy, 1 metal and 4 colorless. So how are we going to attach those energies? We have our Flaaffy, 3 copies, 2 metal saucer and 1 𝘿𝙚𝙬 to help us attach that energy from the discard pile. We actually get to only attach to our bench Pokemon with Flaaffy and metal saucer, but 𝘿𝙚𝙬 actually helps you attach to any of your Pokemon in any way you like and search your deck for another card as well. So we have our Ultra Balls to get Flaaffy out. We can also discard our energies to be able to attach from the discard pile just because we are attaching with Dynamotor and Metal Saucer, so we need them discarded to be able to use those abilities and item cards. Not only that, we need to have a lot of basic energies in our deck to be able to use them just because Dynamotor only allows you to attach your basic energy cards from the discard pile, and we need a lot more lightning than our metal just because we are relying on Flaaffy more than Metal Saucer. So only 3 copies of metal energy just because we just need 1 copy to attack with either Merciless Strike or even Rock Slide for 1 metal and multiple colorless energy. That means we get to play a double turbo. We're only playing 1 copy though just because of the damage reduction. So double turbo actually forces you to do less damage to the bench Pokemon as well. We are doing 30 damage to 2 of our opponent's bench Pokemon with Rock Slide. It can actually help us prepare for Merciless Strike on the next turn. So Merciless Strike only allows you to do 150 more if you have damage counters on them, and if you damage their bench Pokemon, if they don't heal those damage counters, they can actually target those bench Pokemon later on to kill a VMAX with a Merciless Strike for your next Aggron. So sometimes it's better to attack with Rock Slide before doing Merciless Strike. Sometimes it's better just to pull out your Zigzagoon or even 𝘿𝐿𝐴𝐷𝓼𝓰 and your 𝘿𝐿𝐴𝐷𝓼𝓰 just to place those damage counters fast. And we even have 1 copy of Agatha to place 3 damage counters up to 3 on our opponent's active Pokemon by transferring them from our active. So how do we transfer damage counters? We actually get to tank a lot of damage with this card, or we can even attach energy from our hand and place damage counters on it with our 𝘿𝐿𝐴𝐷𝓼𝓰 and then transfer those 2 damage counters. We just need 1 damage counter on our opponent's active to play Merciless Strike for 300 damage, and then Agatha is going to help us place that extra 1 or 2 damage counter to kill a VMAX with 1 hit. So if we have 2 damage counter, we can kill a Rayquaza VMAX, we can kill Ice Rider, Shadow Rider. All of those average HP VMAX Pokemons are dead. If they're playing Eternatus, we actually need a few more damage counters to kill them. So 1 or 2 Zigzagoon with that Scoop Up Net, we can actually kill it off with those tiny extra few damage counters, either a 𝘿𝐿𝐴𝐷𝓼𝓼 or those Headbutt Tantrum abilities. So this deck is actually targeting those VMAX Pokemons. We are trying to kill VMAX with 1 hit using our Aggron to do 1 billion damage with 5 energy. So how do we pull out Flaaffy fast enough? We have a lot of setup cards. We have our Level Ball, 2 copies, 3 Quick Ball, 1 Stormy Mountain, and 4 VIP Pass to get our basic Pokemons, 3 Ultra Ball to get our evolution, and also 2 Level Ball to get Flaaffy as well. As for our supporter cards, we have 2 Milo and 2 Research for the discard, 2 Birdkeeper for the switch, 1 Agatha, 1 Boss Order, 2 Marnie, and 1 Schoolgirl for the draw. We're also playing our Crobat and Lumineon to draw cards into our hand or search for a 𝘿𝙚𝙗 or any other supporter cards that we need. We can even search for Birdkeeper, Marnie, or anything that we need at just the right time. Boss Order even with Luminous Sign. You can even search for Agatha with your Lumineon. So that's the power of this V ability. We are playing a lot of Stadium cards just in case they play Path to the Peak, so we don't have to worry about the ability lock. We have 2 𝘿𝐿𝐴𝐷𝓼𝓼, 1 Stormy Mountain, 2 Scoop Up Net to recycle our abilities. We can also use this card for the switch effect. So if we have a Flaaffy stuck in the active spot, we can actually use Dynamotor first to charge up our next Aggron before scooping it up, just to have our Aggron put in the active spot so that we get to attack with it after doing our Dynamotor first and doing 𝘿𝙚𝙗 as well, just to get all 5 energies in a single turn on the new Aggron to do a surprise Merciless Strike for 300 damage. Obviously, it's better to bench a second Aggron and charge it up, prepare for your second one once you are able to attack with your first Aggron. That way you get to attack much easier, non-stop, hitting high damage every single turn. So we only have 3 copies of Flaaffy to spare. That means we are actually relying on Aggron to survive a few hits to be able to pull out our second one and then charge it on the bench while waiting for the first one to get knocked out. We actually have already the second one ready to go. Maybe 1 or 2 energy attached to it while waiting on the bench. And then once the first one gets knocked out, we actually get to do Metal Saucer and then Air Balloon for the retreat. We actually have 1 copy of Air Balloon as well for this deck, just so that Flaaffy gets to do its ability before retreating. So that's the power of this switch cards. We actually need those switch cards for those abilities to work, and item cards, those actually only allow you to attach to your bench. That's why we need to switch for this deck. Finally, we have 1 extra copy of Boltund V to help us do Electrify fast, so that we get to attach kickstart our energy by bringing out 2 lightning from the deck into play, so that we don't have to discard that many to start with, because playing only 14 energies in this deck, it's actually quite difficult to discard your energies. We need to discard our basic lightning, and we only have 9 copies to spare, so it's quite difficult to draw out your basic energy and discard it early on while setting up your Flaaffy line at the same time. We only have 3 copies of Flaaffy as well, so it's quite difficult to do everything, all of that within the first few turns of the game, and we actually need to if we want to be attacking fast with our first Merciless Strike. So to do that, we either need to do our Flaaffy evolution plus the multiple energy discards, or we can do our Electrify as our first attack, going second if we're lucky enough to have this Pokemon as our first active, or if we're lucky enough to get either a VIP pass or any basic summons plus that switch card just to be able to put our Boltund as the active. We do have a lot of switch cards to spare, so we can actually pull out our Boltund quite easily with Stormy Mountain as well, and then get our switch card to put it as the first active active, and then electrify for 2 energies on a bench Aggron, reducing the amount of energies we need later on. That means we only need 3 more energies to attach from our hand to satisfy its attack cost for Merciless Strike to do 300 damage, plus that zigzagoon, we need to get it out as well. With level ball, we got so many basic summons. So after attacking with electrify, we can also do Bolt Storm while preparing our Flaaffy and also attaching energy to our bench Aggron as well, doing Metal Saucer, Dynamotor at the same time, while slowly drawing out your metal energy into hand before you're able to attack with your Rock Slide or even Merciless Strike. And then Bolt Storm actually helps you collect a few knockouts initially. We can actually do Flaaffy to attach even more, to do even more damage with our Bolt Storm, or at least collect the knockout with a Rock Slide later on, and then do Merciless Strike after the first Rock Slide hit. So that's the power of this deck. We can actually do Bolt Storm, Rock Slide, and then Merciless Strike. Last but not least, we have that one copy of Manaphy to help us protect our bench with the amazing Water Veil ability, guarding our bench supports like Flaaffy, Crobat, or even Lumineon. So that's all for the deck list. Let's wait for gameplay! Okay, let's go here for our first game. We're up against T-Black. They're playing a Lucario VSTAR. So the new Lucario VSTAR has a cool attack. Well, it has 2 attacks. It has the first one, which is kind of the same as your Victini VMAX. Does 120 damage more. 120 more damage if your opponent is a V card on the active spot. So Victini Max Victory does 220, but Lucario actually does more damage, but you need like an extra colorless energy. So it's a fighting plus double colorless cost. That means you need your double turbo or your gritty pickaxe. So there's going to be a gritty pickaxe, kind of the same as your Ether Max Elixir kind of item card, but I think you get to attach to your active Pokemon as well. Look at the top card of your deck. If it's a, I think, basic fighting energy, if it's a basic fighting energy, you get to attach it to your because special energy doesn't work just because they only act as the specific type energy if you attach to your Pokemon. So if it's not attached, if your stone energy is not attached, if it's in your hand, in your discard pile, they actually are just energies. They are not considered as fighting type energy. So stone energy you can't attach with your colossal tar generator, you can't attach with gritty pickaxe, you can't do a lot of things with those special energies. But you can actually use the effect of it, obviously. Also special energies, if they play Spectral Breach, completely destroyed. And Fan of Waves as well. A lot of things that can destroy special energies like Celebration, Zivultle. Anyways, so Lucario has the second attack, Aura Star, which actually does 70x damage for each energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon. That means it's basically the same as your Max Mindstorm for Espeon VMAX. And something else actually has the same attack. I think Tapu Koko V, 20 base damage plus 40 more for each energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon. It's all of your opponent's Pokemon. So Aura Star 70x is like the highest multiple for a energy based attack, but on your opponent's field. But it actually only allows you to use it for once. So it's a V-Star attack. That means you only get to use it once per game. As we all know, they actually are playing a Partner Peak and Liepard for this combo. So Lucario VSTAR, I don't think the item card is out yet. So Gritty Pickaxe is going to give a huge boost to your Lucario. They are not playing Bea. So Bea can actually help Lucario charge up a little bit more faster. But if you are playing Bea, it's better to play nothing but basic Pokemons. If you have any evolution at all, Bea is not going to work that well. So Bea for your Phalanx, V for your Groudon, for anything that has no evolution, works really well just because you don't need to bring don't need any more trainer cards to basically search for those evolutions. All you need to do is attach energy and you're good to go. Switch or something. You may need to fit in a few switch cards into your deck, like a Bird Keeper. Bird Keeper is a supporter though, so it's better to do Switch, Escape Rope, Scoop Up Net if you're playing one price deck. Scoop Up Net may not be that good though because you have to discard everything else, all the touch cards. Anyways, Lucario doesn't actually do much if they have a double turbo because they need a choice belt. So they need a double turbo and a choice belt, and turbo is actually a special energy. So Fan of Waves is going to destroy them. But against any V decks though, if your opponent plays V cards, which we are actually playing right now, we're playing Aggron V as our main attacker, our only attacker actually. We can also attack with Boltund, but Boltund is actually very low HP, so it's better to use it. Not use it at all if you can, but it's actually It actually helps you accelerate your energy though, so if you have it as your first active, it's actually a better deal because you actually get to speed up your energy attachment and then attack faster for your first Merciless Strike and then do 300 damage, which is a lot. If you're up against V-Star, I don't think you can win that easily with this deck, but you still stand a good chance. It's just about the speed, whether depends on which player gets to attack first, gets to collect the first knockout, because you're collecting 2 prize for a knockout. They're doing the same. So, and you need 5 energies for a single Aggron, which is a lot to pull off. The first attack is going to take a few turns. It's going to take a lot of time to set up before you get to do your first Merciless Strike, which is going to be very, very difficult. So they actually played a path. We have to basically keep that Lumineon in our hand and wait for a Stadium card. We do have 3 copies of Stadium, so I'm not too worried, to be honest. We actually did our first Rock Slide on the last turn, and we actually collected 1 prize, killing a Purloin on the bench. So all we need to do is collect another 1 prize, either kill the Liepard or the 𝘿𝐿𝐼. It's better to target the 𝘿𝐿𝐼. Not sure why they have a Brilliant Stars 𝘿𝐿𝐼, because that actually requires a Psychic Energy. The Claydol needs a Psychic. They could be playing the Fusion Strike Claydol, which is a fighting type. A ground type, my bad. But that Claydol actually doesn't fit that well with Lucario, because it actually does like place damage counters until your opponent has 60 HP remaining, I think. So that attack doesn't fit at all with your Lucario. So if you're up against VMAX though, if you play Aggron V, this Aggron V deck is very strong against VMAXs, just because we get to do place a few damage counters on their VMAX with our Zigzagoon, Scoop Up Net, Old Cemetery, our Rocky Helmet, and Agatha. We have so many cards to place those tiny few damage counters, and then all we need to do is kill it off with 1 300 damage strike. 300 damage is all it takes to kill a VMAX. If they don't heal their Pokemon, we get to place those tiny punishment counters to collect the knockout. Coinciding figures, my bad. So they did their first knockout, they got their first 2 prize. Our first knockout was a 1 prize, which is not good, so now we need to kind of pick up the pace. If they got the last choice belt, it's going to be super bad. So we just need to kill consecutively. We have 2 more Aggrons, 1 last one after this. So since we're attacking with nothing but Aggron, let's just bench it right now. I don't think it makes any difference if we do it early. We're gonna do a Marnie just to disrupt their hand a little bit, and maybe play a Zigzagoon right now. They got Liepard to charge back up their hand though. So let's hope they don't get a Raihan. Raihan is gonna help them search for the double turbo, and it's gonna help them attack with Lucario much faster. So Lucario Raihan is basically the best combo, I would say, since you don't have your pickaxe out yet. The item Ether-like item card, because Max Elixir actually allows you to look at the top 7 cards of your deck and attach it to your bench. Only a basic energy though, but Ether actually lets you attach any energy card. You get to attach a special energy from the top card of your deck to any of your Pokemon, even your active. But Ether doesn't allow you to draw the card though, so Gritty Pickaxe is a bit different from Ether. It only works for fighting energy, and it doesn't work for special energy. It only allows you to attach, well, it allows you to attach to any of your Pokemon, I think. Or is it only fighting Pokemon? I'm not sure. But if it's not an energy card, you get to draw that card into your hand. So it's a bit kind of like Judge Whistle. It's a bit of a mixture between Judge Whistle and what's it called? And Ether. So they got their last choice belt, which is bad. That means they got the final knockout. They just need to do Aura Star right now and then do their Raihan double turbo for the final kill. They got the double turbo. They just wasted that because they're doing Aura Star. So Aura Star does a lot of damage because we need so many energies on our Aggron. I think Lucario is having the best matchup right now because we're playing a V deck. A basic V, they actually get to kill it quite easily with their first attack. I forgot what it's called. But the second attack actually does even more damage just because we are attaching so many energies to our Aggron. So both our strategies is perfectly countered by Lucario's precise attack, which I suppose is built against Aggron for some reason. Built against V decks. If you play a Raichu V, Raikou with nothing else, or any V decks that cannot evolve, like a Cursula or a Zacian, Zamazenta, Lucario can actually kill them quite easily. You just need a Tool Jammer, Choice Belt, and Tool Scrapper, or a Tool Jammer. Tool Jammer doesn't work though, because Zacian is like 230 HP. So even with double turbo and Tool Jammer, is still not enough to kill it. 240 minus 20, 220. So Lucario is actually quite silly. It's not strong enough. Dynamotor. It is a fighting type though, so it counters Arceus quite quickly. But if they bring out Dunsparce, you're done. So Dunsparce, Sharon, I don't think they can win against Arceus. If you play Lucario with Arceus, I'm not sure. Maybe. It doesn't do a knockout though against a V-Star. So Lucario does 240 versus a V-Star, which is not quite enough. But Arceus is not enough as well. So if you're playing a V-Star, might as well add a VMAX just to kill, or a one prize card. Sometimes a one prize basic can actually collect the knockout quite easily. So a V-Star with a one prize card without Arceus of it, they actually conceded because I suppose they couldn't get their Raihan. So they couldn't get their final attacker, they couldn't get, attach enough energies for the final Lucario to do the last knockout, and we could already collect the knockout for our last prize draw on the next turn. So if they pass this turn not drawing the last two prize, if they couldn't win this turn, then it's the end for them, then we won. Yeah. So one prize cards are actually very strong now because people are playing price specific. They're being very price specific. They're being very conservative with the amount of prize that they are giving to your opponent. So as opposed to the VMAXs, where you actually do attacks fast, like your Mew VMAX, you're trying to kill fast, you're trying to do a lot fast. But if you get killed, if your opponent knocks you out, they actually draw a lot of prize cards for it. So they just need to kill 2 Mew VMAXs to win the game. Whereas with your Arceus, it's actually doing less damage, but it's forcing your opponent to draw much less prize cards. They need to do 3 V-Star knockouts to collect all 6 prize cards, which is a lot. Because V-Star is like more than V HP. The HP is more than V cards, but slightly less than VMAX. So it's quite a lot of HP that you have to account for. You have to do so much more damage to collect all the 6 prizes as compared to only 2 VMAX knockouts, which is so easy. So a V-Star with a 1 prize is going to work out really well. If you have your other V-Stars out, Charizard V-Star with a 1 prize, I don't think Charizard with Charizard is going to be that smart because it's a stage 2. Charizard V-Star with something like, I don't know. I really don't know. A 1 prize fire type that actually does a lot of damage. Moltres doesn't do enough though. But it can actually help you collect the knockout after your first Charizard strike. So after attacking with Charizard, you can collect the knockout with your Moltres and force your opponent to draw even less prize card by killing that Moltres if they don't get their boss. So they're playing Rayquaza with Arceus. This is an interesting match. We got Agatha, we got Schoolgirl. We should have done our quick ball, but I suppose it's gonna be the same thing if we attach it with Flaaffy later. Since we haven't attached from our hand, I think we decided to attach it and then play the quick ball later. They could play Path or Peak though, so I think it's better to just quick ball right now for a Crobat. And then see what we get. Hopefully a Ultra Ball for Flaaffy. We actually have a lot of Ultra Ball for this deck. There we go, we got it. We're gonna discard the energy, and maybe a Birdkeeper. I don't know what to discard here. I think we kind of need the Birdkeeper and the Agatha. Raihan as well, so I think I'm just gonna discard the research. Let's just go for the Birdkeeper. We are only drawing 3 cards, but I suppose 3 cards is all it takes. Because we actually get to hit first. I don't think it's that smart to hit early though, because we need a lot more energy cards. So if we try to attack on the next turn, I think we're gonna get killed off by Rayquaza immediately after doing our, what's the first attack? Rock Slide. So Rock Slide only does 90 damage, but it does 30 damage to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. That means it actually helps us prepare for that 300 damage strike. So we get to do 300 much more easily. We don't need Zigzagoon, we don't need Agatha or Symmetry to basically collect the knockout. We just need to strike it with 1 Merciless Strike, and that's it. So we could do Rock Slide now, prepare for the next Aggron to do a 1-hit knockout, or keep it on the bench, wait for them to boss order us, hope that they don't do that, and you know, save, pass a few turns to get enough energies on it to do a Arceus V knockout, and then somehow kill the VMAX with 1 hit, and then boss the Flaaffy for the final prize. So we got 2 prize with the Arceus, 3 from the VMAX, and we just need a boss for the final prize draw. We don't actually have an escape rope for this deck, so it's a bit weird, but I think it's actually doing quite well. Okay, we got a Flaaffy. If we get an energy from the top deck, from the top 3 cards of the deck, we can actually do Birdkeeper for Merciless Strike, but it's not enough though. We don't actually have any damage counters on any of our opponent's Pokemon, so we're only doing a base 150 damage. Merciless Strike is not doing much. So let's just do Birdkeeper to our Mary, so that we get to retreat later. Air Balloon to maybe the Flaaffy, and then Symmetry. So Symmetry is going to help us place a few damage counters on them. We're going to Rare Kick, just to put that 1 damage counter on them. They could actually play Path to the Peak, but it's not going to heal the Arceus, right? It's not Path to the Peak. What am I trying to say? Crystal Cave is going to help them heal the Rayquaza, but not the Arceus. So Rock Slide is not actually that good. And they did the boss, but they didn't realize that Rayquaza can't actually do a knockout, because you can only discard either the lightning or the fire, and they don't have enough lightning to kill us. They need 3 at least. They need 3 of either lightning or fire. You can't discard in any combination. You have to discard either as much lightning as you want, or as much fire energy cards as you want from your Rayquaza. So that's an interesting note. They only get to do up to 200 damage this turn, I think. 180, I think. Oh, 180 plus the Choice Belt, so 210 damage. Thank goodness, but we can't attach from our hand though. We're not able to attach cards from our hand, unless if we do an Agatha. So if we Birdkeeper now, we may get a Flaaffy from the top deck, and then we just need to Ultra Ball. Let's just Birdkeeper to the Mary, and then retreat later. I don't think that's too smart though. So we got nothing. That's a bit of a dud. We're just gonna Dynamotor once, and then Rare Kick again, which is a bit sad because we're only doing 10 damage, but at least we get to watch them waste that 1 copy of boss. So wasting that boss is a big deal because you only have that many to spare for each game. For any deck, I don't think you have that many bosses. I don't think you can fit in that many. I've seen one deck which actually has 4 copies of boss, which is ridiculous. I mean, I don't think you have the luxury for that many. 3 is already like more than enough, but 2 is like the usual case. 2 is like, I would say the ideal copy that you get to fit in. If you have Pulpad with 2 copies, that's even better. But I normally play only 1 boss and maybe 1 escape rope. Sometimes I don't have even an escape rope, which is a bit sad, but you can't actually, you know, you have no choice because you can't actually fit in those cards if you want a deck to have consistent draw. If you want to be able to get cards out fast enough, to evolve early, to attack fast, you have to kind of sacrifice those extra control. Because if you have a lot of control early, you can't do much. If you can't attack, you know, if you can't set up enough of your Pokemons on the bench, if you can't set up your energy cards, it's completely useless to have that many in control. So it's basically a balance always, and I prefer a proper setup than, you know, mad control. I don't like control. Obviously control is very fun to play, but it takes a lot of work. It's really difficult to build a control deck, but control cards like Boss and, you know, Galar Mine, power cards like that, Cheryl as well, I think those are like super strong. Sharon also, all those supporter cards that does a lot, that basically Flannery cards that disrupts your opponent and buy you a few more turns, and also help you target their bench, do an extra knockout fast. Those cards actually does a lot, but you need to be able to, as I said, attack first. Like, that is priority. If you don't get your foundations, if you don't have your foundations well built, then the deck is not going to work. So foundations is the most important thing. And sometimes whatever deck that you build, sometimes if you need enough cards, if you have enough space for boss, then you get to play it. If you don't, if you need a lot to support your foundation, then you have to basically sacrifice those extra copies. You have no choice. Unless if you want to play on luck. A lot of people I see on YouTube, they play on luck. Like the Indeedee deck, I mean, that's quite stupid. They play on luck so much, you have no idea. Indeedee with Crobat isn't gonna work that well. So my first Indeedee deck, I played a Crobat just because we don't have the option. We don't have a lot of options to draw cards. I actually decided finally on Manectric because Manectric is a stage 1, and even though you're only collecting an extra card with a Scoop Up Net, you're only adding 10 plus damage. But at least you get to recycle the ability. At least it's a stage 1. It evolves faster, you get to draw more cards with that stage 1, and you get to do things faster, which actually helps you set up much better. So Crobat's not going to work that well just because how are you going to get your evolution out? How are you going to get the right cards out? If you evolve into a Crobat with an Incense, you're basically wasting an item card just to evolve to draw 2 cards, which is essentially adding a net amount of 0 damage to your hand kinesis. And it's basically a lot of things you need to think about, you know? But I don't think people are smart enough to realize that foundations are the most important thing. And I don't know, they just get to play 4 copies of both Schoolgirl and Schoolboy and no gym trainers. I'm quite surprised that they can actually survive playing an Indeedee deck with 0 copies of Gym Trainer, which is like the smartest, the perfect card to be playing. It's more valuable, I would say. I would put at least 2 copies of Gym Trainer and only 3 of each Schoolboy, Schoolgirl. Probably 4 Schoolgirl, just because Schoolgirl works early. If you get it early, you get to play it for draw. So you have to be smart. You can't just dump everything into the deck. You can't just play 4 copies of Schoolboy, 4 copies of Schoolgirl. It doesn't work that way. You have to be smart. So they actually forgot about the old Cemetery. I don't think they have their Switch card. So they forgot about the old Cemetery and attached to the active Rayquaza, killing off, doing the work for us to kill off the VMAX. So we don't need the Agatha, we don't need to play our Zigzagoon Scoop Up Net. We actually need only 10 more damage, 1 more damage counter to kill off that VMAX. Unless if they play a Cheryl. I don't think they have a Cheryl for this deck. So we just need to scope up the Manaphy and then bench the Zigzagoon. And then all we need to do is boss, kill off anything on the bench really. We can kill the Flaaffy, not the Rayquaza on the bench because they just put it right now, but we can kill the Arceus. We can't kill the Flaaffy with Merciless Strike. We can't kill anything with Rock Slide. I keep forgetting the first attack because it's actually a rock type attack for a steel Pokemon. Rock Slide. So I'm not sure why I benched Manaphy for this game. I think I was like over preparing just in case they play a bench snipe deck. So never bench things too early. But if you don't put a Manaphy early though, your opponent can quite easily play a Marnie and you'll never see the light. Manaphy cannot resurface that easily and it's gonna basically destroy you. But we do have a lot of basic summons though. Our VIP pass only works for the first turn. So we have a lot of Ultra Ball, Quick Balls, no capture, Stormy Mountain, 1 copy, but Stormy Mountain only works for your electric type Pokemons. So the only electric type sadly for this deck is Mary. That means we can't summon Aggron, we can summon Boltund though. Okay, so we're just gonna try to attack this turn. They need to evolve, so they need to do a lot of things. They need a Fire Energy and an Evolution. They got 7 cards left in the deck though. They got an Azure Pulse. I think they need to switch Flaaffy, Retreat, and they are good to go to collect the final 2 prize. I don't think it's that easy. They need to boss the Crobat to kill. They can't just boss the Aggron though. I'm pretty sure 3 energy is all they need. So all they need is a switch and retreat. Are they gonna get the switch card? Oh, switch and boss. They need a boss. We're not gonna give them a V card because they have 2 prize left. We're gonna keep our V cards on the bench. Wait for 1 turn because we can't even do our knockout yet. Are we gonna play a Rocky Helmet and then retreat to the Zigzagoon? Let's put Rocky Helmet on Aggron. If they kill it, we're done. So I mean, we're basically trying to if we could attack right now, I may actually choose to do it, because if they switch retreat, they could actually attack with the bench though. If they attack with the bench Rayquaza with a VMAX, I don't think they have that many copies. They already played 2 VMAXs, so that could be the last VMAX in play. This one, my bad. I don't think they have another evolution. So if they switch retreat, that means if they kill off the Aggron, they actually got the boss, so I'm quite scared now. They just need to switch. They attach to the bench a lightning energy and they just play the Flaaffy, so they can't do the knockout anymore. That's quite silly because they just attach energy to the bench. They should have just switched first. I'm pretty sure they have a switch. If they did a switch, look at that, they have a switch in their hand. That's quite silly. If they did a switch and then Flaaffy, they could retreat with anything. They could retreat with Arceus or even the Rayquaza. And then Dynamotor before the retreat to do their max burst, killing off they got everything, but they weren't smart enough to pull it off. So they actually won that game, but oh well, I'm gonna take it because they got a lot of bosses apparently. It is an Arceus V-STAR deck. I don't think we stand a good chance against Arceus, just because Arceus does Trinity Nova that fast. It charges up your Pokemon fast. It prepares for Rayquaza. Rayquaza does a 1-hit knockout, so I don't think we stand a chance against any OHKO decks. We are playing quite a high HP Pokemon though, so Aggron can survive a few hits. If your opponent is playing 1 prize, it can survive at least 1 hit against a V deck, a VMAX or a V-STAR deck. If they're playing Lucario, I don't think it can survive if they have the choice belt. But Arceus, it can actually, it can tank the first Arceus with a double turbo, even with the choice belt. But the next one is going to be a bit more difficult. So Aggron is not that powerful. If it needs 4 energies for Merciless Strike, it would be quite strong, I would say. But just because you need that extra 1 colorless, 5 energies is a lot. It's just way too difficult to pull off. But I'm doing my best for this card, trying to make it as strong as we can, as powerful as possible. With so many ways of placing damage counters, we have a lot of different copies, different trainer cards, tool cards, and even what's it called? Even Pokemon's ability to place damage counters on them. So we can't use the special energy because Horror only works for Psychic Pokemon, Ghost Pokemon, and we are not playing any Ghost types. We got a Crobat in our hand, but we decided to pass the turn. That was surprising because they could quite easily pull a Path. If they do a Path, that's gonna be super bad. I don't know why I chose to keep it in our hand. No Path to the peak, thank God. I mean, that is risky as hell. I don't know why I did that. Okay, we got Agatha, we got a Research. I think we're forced to play a Research here. They're playing a Mimikyu, so that means we can't actually bench too many one prize. If we give them too many Flaaffys, they're gonna kill us quite easily. And obviously, we are gonna have to think about, you know, charging up the next Aggron if they somehow kill our Aggron. But they're probably going to target the Flaaffy first, so all we need to do is charge up the first one and then keep on attacking with the same copy, because we just need to kill 2 VMAXs to win the game. They're going to have to attack with Mimikyu, the VMAX. So all we need is 2 Merciless Strike, 2 hits of Merciless Strike to kill 2 VMAX for 6 prize draws. That means we get to play a single copy throughout this entire game. We don't need a second Aggron. We just need to strike at the right time. Unless if they place all 13 damage counters plus the quick shoot on our Aggron, we may need to pull out another one. So it really depends on what our opponent decide to do. We got a quick ball, we got a Bird Keeper, we got no extra energy cards in our hand. So we don't actually have a Boltund for this list. This list is a bit different. A little bit less energy, no Boltund, and I think we have a Lumineon as well. I think that's the only difference, no Boltund. One less energy. So Capture doesn't actually work for this deck, just because we need... I think we actually have a Capture, I'm not sure. It actually allows you to attach to Aggron though, because it's so many colorless. You get to attach so many different types of energy. It requires 4 colorless and only 1 metal. That's why we only have 3 metal and 2 Aurora for this deck. So initially I had only 1 copy of Aurora. This is actually the earlier list. That means we have only 1. But Aurora energy is better to have 2 copies just because it helps you discard your energy. It helps you discard stuff from your hand. But for this deck, we only need to discard energy. And it also helps you serve as either a metal or a lightning. So we can use Aurora for Boltund to attack. We can use Aurora for Crobat. If they're playing, you know, Psychic Pokemons, we can actually kill the do 140 damage with our Darkness Fang, 140 with Flaaffy, and the Poison 150, which is not bad. So always think about all the types you get to attack with. And we are placing damage counters as well. So if they play like something like Indeedee, Crobat, something with very low HP, Orbital V, we can actually, well, a Psychic type, right? Not an Indeedee. So if they play a low HP Psychic Pokemon, V Pokemon, we can actually kill it off with our damage counter placements. 073 doesn't work against Psychic type though, so it doesn't really work. Oh well. First impression always gets defeated. I mean, sometimes you think it works, but it actually doesn't. So we actually decided to do Rock Slide to prepare for the damage counters, because they couldn't even knock out our active on the next turn, so might as well do Rock Slide. Always remember to check the number of energies you have on your Aggron, because I had actually a few games where I forgot that I had only 4 energies on the active and attached to my bench, not knowing that I should have attached to the active if I want to do a knockout. And I actually wanted to do a knockout, for those games. For this one, I actually didn't. So for this Mimikyu, I actually intentionally attached the energy to the bench because I wanted to do Rock Slide. Just because they're playing a Psychic deck. So Psychic deck, Cemetery is not going to work for it. We have nothing but Zigzagoon to place damage counters. And if they wipe off the damage counter, it's going to be quite bad. They can actually do like Lucky Ice Pop or Suspicious Foot-in to remove those damage counter. I don't think Suspicious is going to work that well because they need Psychic Energy to discard. If they don't discard the Psychic Energy, they can't heal damage. So 90 damage is just right to kill off the active if they don't evolve. So we may be able to pull off another Rock Slide. But they just did an escape rope. They're going to attack with Mimikyu VMAX right now. So the VMAX is going to kill off one Flaaffy probably. And we got a Rayquaza though. Not quite enough to kill the Zigzagoon. So we're going to retreat and then dynamotor. We just need an energy card to retreat. If we don't have any more energies in the discard pile, we're going to be forced to play a research. I prefer to do Rayquaza though, but I don't think it's going to help us that much. I don't think we have to. If we have two energies in the discard pile, we should be playing a Rayquaza, because we actually get to do triple energy attachment. But we have to discard the Zigzagoon. Oh, they actually killed the Zigzagoon, which is quite stupid. They didn't kill the Flaaffy. They chose to keep Flaaffy alive. That was really, really stupid. So we got two Rayquazas into our hand. That is shit luck. That's the worst luck ever. Two Rayquazas in a row. Forced to discard them with the research. Another Flaaffy as well, not good. But we got Ultra Ball to discard. Okay, we got nothing. No energy cards, which is horrible. So as I said earlier, we actually have less basic energy, which is actually a very, very bad thing for this deck, because the foundations, one of the foundations is having enough of your basic lightning for you to do dynamotor fast, but we don't actually have enough. At least we get to do one dynamotor. So we just need either an air balloon or a bird keeper. We got Lumineon for bird keeper the next turn, so that means we get to attack with the second one quite easily if we do a bird keeper. If they do a Marnie on us, we are probably gonna get our switch cards anyways. We got two bird keeper, one air balloon, and one escape rope. No escape rope, my bad. Two bird keeper, one air balloon, and that's it, I think. I forgot. Sorry, guys. So if we switch, we can actually do Dynamotor twice, and all we need is either a Metal Saucer or an energy from our hand. We don't even need that Metal Saucer, unless they play a Crushing Hammer. Oh, I forgot they're killing the Flaaffys. Oops, I forgot they're killing the Flaaffys. Oh dear. So we don't need to be bothered about the second one. We don't need to bother about attaching. We should have just benched nothing, right? We shouldn't have benched the Aggron on the... But it actually forces them to target the Flaaffy if we do that, right? Because if we don't bench any more Aggrons, they're probably going to try to kill off our active instead of targeting those support Pokemons. Or they may just choose to kill off the Flaaffy. You never know what they're going to do. But benching another Aggron could be a mistake because we are wasting those extra cards, extra resources just to charge up the second one when we may not be needing it. We may not need to use it after all, because we got our final knockout right here. Merciless Strike for the final kill. They actually got 3 damage control on the bench Mimikyu as well. So that bench is not going to survive, not even with a big charm. It only has 300 HP. 330 is exactly enough for us to kill it with 1 Merciless Strike, so Big Charm is not going to do anything. Unless if they heal their Pokemon. We got a Zigzagoon ready to go. If they heal with like a Momo Cheese, they can actually prevent the knockout. So we need like a Rocky Helmet, or even 2 strikes to kill off the Mimikyu. I don't think they have a Manaphy. So all we need is Merciless Strike, Rock Slide, kill off that VMAX on the bench. Or just a boss now. They're giving us a boss now. We can actually do a Rock Slide again. To kill off the active. So they did nothing. They attached a Psychic Energy and did Jealous Eyes for 90 damage, 9 damage counters. Are we gonna play Zigzagoon and Scuba Net? Let's just do it on the next turn. So if they kill off our active, we're pretty much screwed because we have not enough energy cards on the next one. They could just do Jealous Eyes again. I'm quite scared now. Because our second one is not going to be able to attack that easily. We got Scoop Up Net though, so that means we get to do our Rock Slide definitely on the next turn if they don't use a Marnie. We should have targeted the Sobble. I don't know why I did that. We should have hit the Sobble and the Mimikyu. That way we could possibly collect the final prize. If they don't evolve the 𝘖𝓲𝓼, we got our final prize with our Rock Slide. So we can definitely do Rock Slide on the next turn with that one Flaaffy, unless if they kill it off. If they have no choice but to kill the Aggron though. If they don't kill the Aggron, we're gonna kill it. So they have to kill the Aggron. And that means we get to do Dynamotor once for 4 energy attachment to Aggron. Scoop it up to retreat for the retreat. Scoop up our Flaaffy. Bench it again. And then do Rock Slide before Merciless Strike. We got one last prize, they got 4 more. I don't think they can win this game. It's not looking too well for them. Mimikyu, I don't know. I don't think it's as strong. I've seen Popsicle Knight build a Mimikyu with Obstagoon, which isn't really that smart. I mean, Obstagoon works with Max Shadow, I suppose. Max Shadow, discard a card from your opponent's hand. That means if you cut off their hand, you actually get to reduce the number of cards in your hand down to 3. You get to discard cards until they have 4 left, and then discard another random card from their hand with Max Shadow. And you actually get to either choose to do Max Shadow Obstagoon combo or your Inteleon Ominous Number combo. So Acerola, Acerola, Shady Dealings, Quick Shoot, and Ominous Numbers, or Max Shadow with your Wicked Ruler ability. But it's double stage 2 though. I don't think it works. If you play Mimikyu with 𝘖𝓼, maybe 𝘖𝓼, Marnie, and Judge, you can reduce your opponent's hand, but they can quite easily replenish it though. I don't think it does much. Right? They can quite easily pull a research, do their Shady Dealings to get their trainer cards. I don't think it does much. I've tried Mimikyu VMAX with 𝘖𝓼. It doesn't really work. Because abilities, you have to focus on shutting off those abilities. Starbirth as well. You can search for anything. It only works for the first time though, but I think the first time is all it takes. So we got our Merciless Strike, we got it. We just need to do Flaaffy, attach 1 from our hand. I think we did a Metal Saucer as well. So we got exactly 5 energies in a single turn to do our final knockout for 2 prize. They haven't even got the second VMAX. So no VMAX. They only did occult numbers once. Ominous Number. It's called Ominous Number. I got tricked by the first copy, the first print. So the first time I saw that attack, the website actually translated wrong. They translated in a different way. So it's called occult numbers when that website shows the first release of the Mimikyu VMAX from the VMAX Climax set, from the Climax set. But when it came out in Brilliant Stars, it's actually called something different. So now I'm stuck with the occult numbers. I'm stuck with that phrase in my head. Ominous numbers, ominous numbers. It doesn't sound as good as occult number, right? Occult numbers sound so cool. It's perfect, I would say. Mimikyu is cultic. right? Mimikyu is not too ominous. Okay, now we're up against a Rapid Strike deck. So they're using Oranguru in a very interesting fashion. I think Oranguru, well, most people are actually using it for this reason, but I just now realized that you can actually use it for this purpose. So the purpose that I'm mentioning is you can save a card from your hand with your Primate Wisdom and then do your research. So I actually realized that you could save a card from your hand, obviously, but I didn't realize that you could actually build a deck using that strategy. If you want to put a lot of research in your deck, if you want a strong draw with your research, you can actually play, or if you want to play mustards in your deck, you're forced to discard everything from your hand. So that means you can, or a peony, right? I'm sorry, I'm saying a lot of things. So rose, peony, research, or mustard, you're forced to discard everything from your hand, so that you get to play your mustard or draw a lot of cards into your hand. Whatever it is, discarding a lot actually costs you a big. It's gonna cost a lot since you have to play your rod. You're gonna have to fit in more cards into your deck. Clara, rods, recyclers to basically shuffle back those cards into your deck. But if you don't want to play those shuffle cards, if you don't want to spend that many resources, that many space for those those extra cards in your deck, you can actually play a Primate Wisdom to save any card you can in your hand, swap it with your top deck, and hope that your top deck is something that you don't need, so that you can actually discard your top deck rather than the precious card you have in your hand, maybe a VMAX that you need for later. If you're not playing a mustard, if you want to play a research, for example, if you have way too many VMAXs in your hand, you can't play a research, right? Because research is going to basically destroy your game. You can't afford to discard that many VMAXs or V-Star, unless if you're evolving this turn, probably, obviously. So if you want to play those power cards like Massive Draw, Power Peony, and Rose as well, you have to fit in at least one copy of Oranguru because it's gonna save you. It's gonna save you a lot. And they're playing the Rotom Phone as well. I think it's very smart though. They're playing a very smart deck. Rose Tower, Rotom Phone with Oranguru. I mean, that's really smart. And they got a Cram-O-Matic in there as well. I mean, this guy is crazy. Very strategic. Mustard for the Urshifu, and they got it out on the second turn, ready to do Gale Thrust, but they don't have the Rapid Strike energy. I think they're playing Darkness, so I saw their mulligan just now. They're playing Darkness and Rapid Strike. That means they need Octillery to get the special energy. We have Energy Lotto on the next set, so Energy Lotto is going to help out a lot, but I think you actually can't afford to play nothing but Darkness. They may have a few copies of Aurora, Spiral, or maybe... I think they need Aurora, because Spiral doesn't work for Moltres. Or Fighting Energy. So we're gonna discard those two, draw 4 cards. I don't think we're gonna give them... Are we gonna draw Crobat? I think we should be drawing, because we want to attach an energy. We haven't attached an energy this turn, so we got nothing. That is quite sad though. We drew 5 cards and we got no energies. But at least we got to do Electrify. So Boltund is helping Aggron get out those energy cards, those pesky energies that doesn't want to show up. Force them to put, force them out into play. Primate Wisdom again. Are they going to play their second Mustard? They need to discard though. They have to discard another Rapid Strike Pokemon, and they can't play the Mustard anymore because they just benched. They just played a bench Pokemon. So no more positions on the bench. That means no more Mustards. Too many supports. They got a Crobat and 2 Lumineon. They can't afford to bench that. Too bad. So you need Octillery. Octillery is gonna get your Mustard. Octillery is gonna get your Rapid Strike energy. I don't think you can afford to play a Lumineon if you want to run a Mustard deck. Full Mustard. They could actually get a research and then attack with the Urshifu Moltres and then do the mustard later. But they didn't get a research. They got nothing though. Quite sad, isn't it? They got nothing with the Lumineon. It's a bit surprising, I would say. So they can retreat to Gale Thrust to kill our Boltund. So let's just take the opportunity to kill off the Oranguru, because they don't actually have any Rapid Strike Pokemon in play except for the Urshifu, so they can't retreat with the... They can't do Gale Thrust that easily if we kill off the Oranguru, because Tower of Waters is not going to help them that much. They still need an Air Balloon switch or to bench a Rapid Strike Pokemon. I don't think it's going to help out though. They need a switch even if it's a Rapid Strike, right? So we're going to remove the Tower of Waters. And then Bolt Storm. So we got Raihan. We're going to do Raihan, Flaaffy. We actually got 2 Lightning Energies attached from the discard pile, and then we get to attach the metal from our hand. We get to do Merciless Strike on the next turn, and we can't do Agatha though with Raihan. So if they kill our Boltund this turn, is going to be quite bad. But if they take the damage counter, from 07, they took the damage counter, there we go. So 300 damage is not enough though. They did an escape rope. We're forced to give either Crobat or Mary. So we just need 1 Mary. I think we're gonna give off. We're gonna just sacrifice 1 copy. We can't afford to kill Menifee. We need Menifee. We need Crobat just because it's 2 price. So we're just gonna give off a Flaaffy. Raihan is gonna help us here. Raihan, Flaaffy, attach, and we get to do... We just need a Quick Ball. So we need either a Quick Ball or a Flaaffy or an Ultra Ball in the top deck. We got a lot of Ultra Balls in this for this list. So we better be getting at least an Ultra Ball. Something from the top deck, please. We got a Quick Ball, that's great. That means we got a Zigzagoon, and that's just right to kill off the VMAX. 300 plus that 10 damage, plus that 1 damage counter is just right. So we're gonna do a Raihan, and then get a Flaaffy. We're gonna do a Quick Ball to discard the Lightning, Dynamotor, and then attach the metal. And then all we need to do is retreat with Boltund, Merciless Strike, and that's it. We got our first VMAX knockout, and we're down to 2 prize. They have 5 prize remaining. Now we just need to wait for them to attach energy to their second attacker, and then boss with a Lumineon. If we got a Lumineon, that'd be great, but I don't think we have the space in our bench, so we need to somehow play a Scoop Up Net before the Lumineon, and then boss anything on the bench to kill for the last 2 prize. We can't even charge up our Boltund. We only have 1 Flaaffy though, so prepare Boltund for Bolt Storm to kill off the Lumineon possibly. With a boss, we actually have a boss in our hand inside the deck. So we're gonna get a level ball for Flaaffy, just to compress our deck so that we don't get all the cards that we don't need. We don't actually need the level ball for another Mary, so might as well just play it right now. And Dynamotor, Metal Energy. We actually got to kill the Urshifu. Look at that. That's so satisfying though. We got to knock out a VMAX, and they did an escape rope, which is quite sad. That means they couldn't even kill our Boltund. Boltund is surviving so many turns. Merciless Strike for the KO. 300 damage, look at that. 300, yo. For a basic Pokemon, that's madness. 5 energies though. That is a lot of energies. Okay, I think their only bet right now is to attack with Moltres. If they attack with Moltres, they can't do the knockout, and they're gonna have to sacrifice that 2 prize. We have 2 prize cards remaining, so that's why they concede. They can't afford to kill us with the Moltres, Because the old cemetery, I think they forgot about it. They actually could have a stadium card in their hand, and they forgot about that damage counter attached to the Moltres. I don't think it's enough though. They need like a Raihan to even attack. And if they attack with Moltres, they don't need the old cemetery. We don't need the old cemetery because they're doing 30 damage to itself. Doing 30 damage with Aura Burn helps us do Merciless Strike for the kill. So Moltres is not able to kill. If they have a choice belt though, they can actually kill our Aggron. And then we may be in trouble because the second one is going to be so much more difficult to pull out. So if you can't pull out your second one, make sure you can collect all your prizes with the first one. Which is actually possible because Aggron has quite high HP. And you can do, once it's out in play, you can do consecutive knockouts non-stop. You just need your Agatha or Cemetery to help you, Rocky Helmet, or even your Scoop Up Net Zigzagoon. So we have so many damage counter varieties. If they play Fusion Strike Pokemon, we got Agatha. If they play Tool Jammer, we got our Old Cemetery. If they play Psychic type Pokemon, we got our Zigzagoon. So we got a lot of different ways to get through those barriers. We don't have a fan of wave though, so Fusion Strike Energy is gonna completely block off our Zigzagoon, but not the Rocky Helmet or our Agatha. So Agatha is actually really good just because it allows you that special effect. If you don't need your supporter card, you can actually play that power card just to place damage counters for 300 attack, for a 300 amount of attack. It's your Merciless Strike. To Aggronator. We're gonna electrify. Bolt Storm later. I don't think they can kill us off that easily. They need like 2 more Zigzagoons or a Scoop on that. Sableye is not enough. They actually charge up the Sableye instead of the Eternatus. So that is actually quite a surprise. If you can attach the Eternatus, you best be doing it early. But they did it to the Sableye instead. They got Slowking VMAX, they got Moltres and Zigzagoon. I don't know why people like to play Slowking with Sableye. Slowking Sableye, I don't think it works that well. I mean, if you're playing a VMAX, might as well try to kill with your VMAX. If you're doing a 2-hit knockout with a VMAX, it's not worth it. You should be doing a 1-hit knockout with a VMAX. Or at least multi-price knockout with 2 hits, right? 4 price draw with 2 strikes, like a Urshifu or a Mimikyu. Mimikyu VMAX does a lot against supports. If you have 1 price supports like Jinchino, Flaaffy, you can draw at least 3 price for 2 strikes, which is not bad, not a bad deal. 1.5 price every turn. So that means you just need like 4 turns to win the game, I suppose. If your opponent keep benching, if they choose not to bench any more 1 price cards for you to kill, if they have V cards, I don't think Mimikyu can do much. Mimikyu is quite weak. It's very weak. Only does 120 or 130 damage with your 𝐿𝙚𝓚𝓼𝓱𝓬𝓪, 120 with Max Shadow. So if you have a choice belt, and if you want to use Ominous number, choice belt doesn't work for Ominous. Just because Ominous places damage counters and it doesn't allow you to do extra damage. So Moltres is gonna try to kill off. Well, they are gonna kill off the Boltund. Boltund is dead. Now we have Aggron to attack. We just need to switch it. We're gonna put Zigzagoon in the active spot. We can actually play a Scoop Up Net for the switch. So Metal Energy, Dynamotor, and we're good to kill off the Moltres. Now we just need the final knockout. Eternatus is gonna come swoop in and kill off our Aggron though, but they need quite a lot of energies, right? So let's hope they don't get their energy switch. One switch is all they need. There's gonna be Dark Patch on the next set, so Dark Patch is gonna make Eternatus so crazy powerful, because it only needs 2 energies. Dark Patch, Hiding, and you can actually attack in a single turn. Well, you can't actually do Hiding though, because the active needs to retreat, right? So Dark Patch, and maybe a free Retreat Darkness. I don't think there's a free Retreat Darkness Pokemon. Basic. So maybe Dark Patch and Bird Keeper, Dark Patch switch, Escape Rope, Air Balloon is gonna help out a lot. Scoop on that even if you play 1 prize. You can actually do nothing but a 1 prize, 1 prize Eternatus VMAX deck. If they play Crushing Hammer though, you're gonna need your Bird Keeper, because Scoop on that doesn't work for VMAX obviously. So I would do more Bird Keepers and switch if I want to play Dark Patch for my Eternatus deck. But it's gonna give you so much boost. You're gonna be able to attack non-stop with your Dread and doing so much damage every single turn. Early as well. You gotta pull it off early, which is madness. You just need to discard. You just need to reverse attach the Darkness energy to your bench, switch, and you're good to go. Bench a billion with your Crobat, draw, and that's it. So we got enough energies, but they did a boss, so it may not be wise to bench your Aggron too early. But we got a Lumineon for a Bird Keeper. Interestingly, we did Bird Keeper for the attack, and we got the Zigzagoon. We got Agatha, but we couldn't attach energy. We have no 𝘿𝐿𝐴𝐷𝓼𝓱𝓬𝓪, so we can't use Agatha, sadly. Oh, we did our Bird Keeper, so we can't use it as well. So we did Aurora Energy to discard the Metal Energy, and then Metal Saucer to reverse attach it. Dynamotor, so now we got 3 energies on it. We just need to Air Balloon retreat on the next turn. We got 5 energies ready to go. They still need 2 more V knockouts, and we already almost killed off this one. We just need to Rock Slide. They have no Manaphy's in their deck. They can't play Manaphy for Eternatus because they need all Darkness Pokemon. So that means we just need Rock Slide. That's it, right? Rock Slide to kill off the bench. If they play Cheryl though, they can actually pull off a Cheryl. So never underestimate Eternatus. Cheryl and then attack with Moltres or another Eternatus. I don't think they can afford to kill with Moltres. Moltres doesn't do enough. And they're gonna kill themselves, right? If they attack with Moltres. We got 2 prizes left. I think they're trying to do maybe an energy switch for the next one. I'm not sure why they are doing a Moltres. They did Diaflame Wings. They attached from the hand to the active. So I think that's it. That's the end of the game. They actually gave us Eternatus. So we can actually do Rock Slide for the last knockout, but they conceded before we get to do anything. That's fine. So Rock Slide can actually kill it on the bench. So that's why they didn't retreat, because they saw that there was no point keeping it on the bench. If they don't get their Cheryl, they're done. There's no way to get a Cheryl other than with a Crobat, because they can't draw without the support cards. And they already bench everything. They need to scoop up the Zigzagoon and play a Crobat. And I don't think that's going to be enough to draw your Cheryl. They have very few cards left in the deck though. So it's never too late, I suppose. Cheryl is actually really good for any deck. Especially a VMAX. You have to discard your energy cards though. Sharon, you don't have to discard anything. But you do have to set it up back, right? Scooping up everything. It's essentially healing all damage counters, but you have to re-evolve the same Pokemon. You have to reattach your energy cards, your tool cards, everything. If they play a Marnie right after you do a Sharon, it's gonna be super bad. Because you get the search back from the deck all of your specific type energy, all of your special energy as well, tool card and evolution, just to get back your game. Just to get back that VMAX into play or the V-Star. So Sharon can be quite conditional. So now they're playing a Whimsicott. I actually made a fatal mistake for this game, just because I was a bit distracted. So I got a bit tired at this point, because you know it was kind of late in the day, and I played a lot of games before this. So by this time, I'm already exhausted. So I'll let you guys know what the trick was. The mistake was that I checked my discard pile and thought that it was my deck. So I checked my discard pile with a dynamotor, and I thought that was my deck. So just because I thought that was my deck, I didn't get to pull out enough Flaaffy. So we actually have a lot of Flaaffys inside the deck. But I thought we have only one copy. That's why I made the mistake. But we don't even know what the mistake is yet. So let's just focus on the game. It's the worst mistake of my life. Like, it's the worst mistake of my life. If we have a Zigzagoon, we can actually kill off the Whimsicott on the next turn if they don't evolve. So it's actually a fairy type. That means Rock Slide can do 180 damage. Almost enough to kill it off with one strike. So Zigzagoon is gonna help us collect knockout. I don't know why I'm like ogling on Boltund. They got Arceus, so Espeon is gonna help them kill off our Aggron with one hit. Arceus is not gonna be able to kill anything that easily. They can kill Crobat and Boltund though. So Arceus with double turbo can't kill Aggron with one hit. Whimsicott can't do enough damage unless if they do Flaaffy Star. So they can collect one knockout with Whimsicott, one knockout with Espeon with their, what do you call, Trinity Nova for Espeon, and then Espeon Max Minus Storm. And then they can just boss order the last one, the Crobat on the bench, for the last two prize with Arceus. So if they play their cards right, they can actually win quite easily. So as I said, if you're up against a V-Star, you don't really stand a good chance. Just because you need to do so much more damage. We are actually doing a lot of damage though. We are doing 300 damage. We can kill up V-Star quite easily. But they are much faster just because they got Starburst. They are much faster. We need to attach so many energies to get one going. And by the time we can do our first strike, they would have done their first knockout. They would have killed our Aggron just right after we do our first strike, which is not good because it's gonna be very difficult to pull out the second one. We do have Raihans, we do have Metal Saucer and extra copies of Flaaffy on the bench, but I don't think it's gonna be that easy. So that's why Lumineon is here. Lumineon helps you get your Raihan for Metal Saucer or even an extra copy of Flaaffy, Ultra Ball if you need. So Raihan is going to help you a lot for this game. Playing an Aggron heavy attacker. But we only have that many bench spots to spare. I don't think we can bench a Lumineon that early. So we need to kind of wait for Aggron to die before we get to play a Lumineon from our hand and then bench another Aggron, because we don't have enough bench spot, right? And we need to somehow play an air balloon at the same time to retreat with Flaaffy or scoop it up. So air balloon, scoop up net is gonna help you retreat with Flaaffy. But it's a lot that you need to do. So here's where I made the mistake. On the next turn, the worst mistake of my life. Oh well. But they actually made a bigger mistake. You'll see later that they made the worst possible mistake to be playing using an Arceus deck, because Arceus actually needs 3 energies. So we got Flaaffy. We're gonna somehow bench another Aggron. Get it ready to go. I think we have to play a Marnie because they got a lot of cards in their hand. Are we gonna play a Marnie or a Research? We decided on Research. Look at that. Because we wanted to get our Aggron out. We got no energies in our hand, which is horrible. I mean, we played a Research, for God's sake. This is the mistake. I checked my discard pile. I thought that was my deck. Look at that. I actually thought that was my deck. What the hell was I thinking? I thought that was my deck. That's why I didn't play the Ultra Ball. We actually have the Ultra Ball for a second Flaaffy, and that's enough for us to do Merciless Strike on the next turn. If we play our Milo, we actually get to draw 2 prize doing Bolt Storm right now, but I chose to do Electrify. That was so stupid. I didn't realize that we have a Flaaffy inside the deck. Look at that, we have 2 Flaaffys. What's happening? What's wrong with me? There we go, they did the O face. We could have done the knockout and they got no attackers on the next turn. They got no attackers. They need a Raihan to get the... They can't use Starbirth. They need to get an extra energy into play for Arceus to attack. So that was really stupid because we got an extra turn if we do a knockout on just now. But we just gave them extra 2 more prize. Oh, they can't do a knockout this turn, thank God. So they can't do a knockout yet because Whimsicott already did its Fluff Ball Star. But they can deny us, you know, they can deny us from attaching tool cards. We have no other tool cards though. We already attached our Rocky Helmet and Air Balloon. So we took opportunity to attach those tool cards just because they did Fluff Ball Star. We're trying to avoid the tricky win effect. Okay. Whimsicott. Only 160. I mean, that's very weak, right? Whimsicott is kind of silly, if you ask me. The V-Star power is very strong, but you only get to do it once. I think it's kind of a waste. It's a bit of a waste. Shaymin V-Star is actually better because you get to do so much damage late stage of the game. And the V-Star power is not as strong, but it doesn't matter. I don't quite like the V-Star power. Starbirth, if it's not Starbirth or Ivy Star, I don't like it. Because if it's an attack, there's no point. You get to do a fast knockout, but that's it. You're wasting an entire V-Star power just for a knockout. I don't think it's worth it. And you can't do anything else. I mean, 160 is pathetic. It's only 250 HP as well. 160 for 3 energies is horrible. Whimsicott is so weak. Okay, here's where they made their mistake. They, I suppose, got overconfident and thought they have enough energies on Arceus. And they actually attached to the bench. They put the Arceus inactive and attached to the bench. So they couldn't attack on the next turn. Which was a breather for us, because we actually got an extra turn had we attacked with Boltund just now. So it's kind of the same thing. We made a mistake, they made a mistake, so it evens thing out. Now it's kind of a fair play, I suppose. But we shouldn't have made that mistake though. We should have just been more alert and not made the dumbest mistake of my life. I mean, Dynamotor, you're looking at your discard pile. You're not looking at the deck with Dynamotor. Come on. I don't know how I could get confused with that. I have no idea how I could. I don't know how. My brain just worked that way. I think I was a bit too tired then. So they attached to the bench. There we go. They paused the turn not doing Trinity Nova, and they gave us an extra turn, which is just right. So now we get to kill off the V-Star with with Merciless Strike, and they're done. Thank God. Even if they killed, well, if they did Trinity Nova on the last turn, they can charge up the Espeon, right? Espeon is gonna give them the final knockout because Max Mindstorm is gonna do a Aggron kill, and all they need is the final knockout on Aggron because they already killed the Boltund for the 2 prize. So Espeon is gonna be their saving grace. So if we didn't make the mistake, we could have killed the first Whimsicott with our Boltund, and then after that, they're gonna be stuck though. They can't actually attack with our Raihan. So we killed the first Whimsicott, and then after that we can actually kill another one for 4 prize draw before they can do their first Trinity Nova. And then after that we just need to do another knockout after their first Arceus, after they attack with their first Arceus. So it's gonna be a done deal had we attacked with our Boltund just now, because we got 4 prize easy, right? They don't have any energies on the bench. They invested everything on Whimsicott for Fluffball Star. So that actually seals the game. Had we attacked with Boltstorm, I mean, we would have gotten 4 easy prizes, and they got 0 prize. I think they got the first 2 though. Did they get the first 2? I'm not sure. They did Fluffball Star, so they got the first 2. So we got 4 prize. That means if they do a knockout after, after the Arceus, after the Trinity Nova, they can't win though, because by then we would have done our last knockout. So timing is everything for this game. Timing is everything. If you hit at just the right time, if you miss a few turns, that's it. You cannot afford to miss a single turn. You miss that energy, you're done. You miss that attack, you're done. We missed the attack just now. We did Electrify, which is ridiculous. We could have done so much if we did Ultra Ball for Flaaffy. We could have done our Bolt Storm. We got an air balloon attached as well. That means we could have retreated with our Flaaffy. If they somehow pull off a Raihan, we can still do our double Flaaffy dynamotor, and then all we need is research for a Metal Energy or Aurora Energy from our hand, and we are good to do Merciless Strike a second time. The first time against Arceus, I suppose. So Boltstorm for the first knockout, Merciless Strike for the second knockout, and then all we need is a boss because we already did Rock Slide. That means we got damage controls on both the V-STAR and the VMAX. So we just need one last boss with the Lumineon to kill off the Espeon. We can't actually kill anything else because Merciless Strike needs your opponent to have damage counters to do the extra damage. So it only does 150 base if your opponent has a clean Pokemon, if they are clean of damage counters. But we do have Zigzagoons though. So 300 is enough to kill Whimsicott. So we just need one Zigzagoon to kill off the Whimsicott. If they somehow heal all damage from both the Arceus and the Espeon. 1 damage counter is enough for Arceus as well, even with a big charm. So 300 plus 1 is enough. 300 plus 10. Just nice. So it's the end. I mean, they're trying to prevent them. They're trying to cheat death with that Fluff gets in the way, but it doesn't work. We can't just quite easily retreat. It doesn't work. We got our Agatha. We actually chose to do Agatha this turn. We should have done Agatha for Boltund though, because it has more damage counters on it. But we chose to clean up our Aggron. That means they actually need 21 more damage to kill off our V. And we did Merciless Strike for 600 damage. Just because it's a Fairy type. Knocking out for the last 2 prize a Whimsicott. We won a Whimsicott. But we could have won much faster had we did our Boltund. If we weren't, tired enough to do that stupid blunder. That ridiculous blunder. Oh well. We learn from our mistakes, right? We learn from experience, and it is just a game after all. Don't take it too seriously. Like, it doesn't matter. It's always a gamble whether you get a good hand or not. But you can always maximize your chances of winning by playing with strategy. It doesn't mean much though if you lose the game sometimes, because even with as much skill that you can pull off with any deck that you play, there's always a bind. There's always a point where you can't actually do anything. It's random, basically. It's random whether you're gonna get a win or a lose, because it always depends on what card you're gonna draw, what card you have in hand, what gets stuck in the prize card. You know, you can't do anything about those things. There's only so much you can do. Like, for real. There is only so much that you can do. Because you only get to draw 7 cards into your hand on the first turn. 7 cards is not a lot, and if you get a shit hand to start, you're gonna have to be smart enough to somehow save yourself. So look at that, they got nothing but a Zamazenta and a Metal Energy, no supporter cards, no Zacian to help them draw, no Quick Ball, nothing. That's why I say it depends on your luck. A Zacian Zamazenta deck with nothing. That's quite rare though. So we got Aggron, we got our first energy. We got Flaaffy as well, that's great. So this is actually our second turn. We're just gonna play our research. I don't think we need Scoop Up Net. So we got our Rocky Helmet. We need to think about our second Aggron now. So if they're playing Crystal Cave, it's gonna be super bad because Zigzagoon has to show up at just the right time. If it shows up, if we use it to pass the turn, we're done. We cannot afford to pass the turn after playing Headbutt Tantrum. We have to play it on our turn when we are able to attack with Aggron, when we are able to have enough energies for Merciless Strike. Then and only then should you use your Zigzagoon, should you bench that Pokemon. Because otherwise it's going to be a waste. You're going to heal back all of those damage counters and you can't knock it out anymore. So Rocky Helmet, Zigzagoon, we got 2 copies of Zigzagoon, no more Scoop Up Nets. So that means we have to conserve our band spots. Symmetry is not going to help unless if they don't get their stadium cards out fast. So they actually forgot. They got the stadium card in their hand, but they forgot and they attached to the active. So that actually saved us. That means we can naturally kill off the active with our Symmetry damage counter if we get enough energies on the next turn. But we can't actually retreat. We got a Bird Keeper, but we don't have enough energy cards discarded. So I think we're forced to do a second Electrify. They didn't actually attack or do anything. So let's just do Bird Keeper first. If we got an energy discard, we should be attacking with Aggron, but we couldn't discard the energy, sadly. Oh well. So we're gonna attach a Lightning Energy to the bench, and then they're playing Crushing Hammer, but Crushing Hammer doesn't do anything though, because we got 2 Flaaffys now. So Crushing Hammer is doing nothing, unless if they discard enough energies. If they discard all 3, then that would be bad. So we're just gonna do Metal Energy on the second one, and then charge up the first and the second. So we don't want to spread too much energies. We should be preparing at least 1 attacker, so we're gonna attach 1 to each. So that all we need is 1 more energy on the next one to attack. If they don't play Crushing Hammer, if they do Crushing Hammer, we have Flaaffy, so Crushing Hammer is not gonna do that. It's not gonna help them at all. Fingers crossed they don't pull a Crystal Cave on us. So we can't actually retreat with Boltund. I actually thought Boltund is 1 energy retreat. That's why I did Electrify on that turn. And we could have done an energy attached to Boltund. Definitely should have attached that energy to Boltund just now, but I thought we could retreat. So we're stuck with Boltund. We can't play Agatha because we're not going to be able to cheat death. Might as well just play it later. So we got 2 Aggrons though, at least. They actually gave us enough turns to pull 3 electrifies in a single turn. Sorry, 3 electrifies in a row, which is madness. We got all 9 energies in play, plus that 1 on Boltund. So we just need 1 last copy to satisfy both the attack cost, which is insane. They got Crushing Hammers though, so better watch out. We should be attaching, extra copies to prepare for Crushing Hammer. So finally, Zacian is in play, but they attached Air Balloon to the Zacian, which is, I don't think it's a big mistake though, because we are doing 300 damage. I don't think Cape is gonna help them at all. 300 damage is enough to kill anything. Okay. We're gonna do Level Ball. We got our Zigzagoon. They actually healed, so that old cemetery didn't help us because we couldn't retreat. Had we done a retreat just now, we could have killed the Zamazenta. But that was a waste though. It's definitely a waste because we just ignored the stadium and didn't realize they could pull off another Crystal Cave. I think that's their first one though. So we discard Illuminion to get 2 energies. And we played another 2 cards, my bad. And we played another Old Cemetery, hoping they don't discard it this time. They got Training Court and Crystal Cave. So we got our first 2 prize, killing a Zamazenta. We need to target the Zacian. We got a boss order, so we just need to scoop. We don't have a scoop of that. So we just need to somehow get a Quick Ball, our second Zigzagoon. If they attach energy from their hand without, a Crystal Cave, if they don't play a Crystal Cave just yet, we can't boss anything. So we're gonna boss the Zamazenta. Unless if they heal, they can actually Crystal Cave later. So they can heal back that damage counter. They're gonna heal it back, so oh well. If they attack us, they are taking damage counters. So if they kill our Aggron with the Zacian, we can kill it with the second Aggron, because it has Rocky Helmet attached to it. So I think our best bet is to do Rock Slide. Rock Slide is not doing much though. We got Zigzagoon. Okay, they conceded. We actually got Zigzagoon and a boss. That means we can do our first kill. Sorry, our second kill for the 4 prize draw. And then for our last 2 prize, we just need to wait for them to kill us with a Rocky Helmet, and then Merciless Strike for the last one, right? If they do a boss kill the bench though, that's gonna be bad. That means we need our second Aggron. And if they do another boss against the second Aggron, that would be even worse. So I don't think it's smart to discard too many scoop up nets. It's better to keep your scoop up net, because we don't actually have any more old cemeteries. If they're smart enough to play 2 boss in a row with the Zacian, but they try to attack with the Zamazenta, which is why I suppose they conceded, because they should have attached energy to Zacian. So enough copies of boss is going to help them win the game. Because we can't afford to bench it late, right? If we do a surprise Aggron at the last minute, we can't pull out enough energies. Unless if we have 2 Flaaffys, a Raihan, and a Metal Saucer. We need all 4 of them, plus an Air Balloon. I think we already have the Air Balloon though. So we just need to Raihan for a Metal Saucer, I suppose, if we have an energy card in our hand. So double Flaaffy, Raihan for a Metal Saucer, attach an energy from your hand. That's enough to do Merciless Strike in a single turn. A surprise Merciless Strike. That means you get to bench it on your turn before attaching all 5 energies for 300 damage, killing off a Zacian for the final 2 prize. So now we're up against a 1 prize deck. A 1 prize Jumpluff doing 60, a lot of damage actually against your V cards if they do Choice Belt. But apparently they're trying to do their Scroll of the Skies because they have lightning energy. Scroll of the Skies for 50x damage for each energy attached to your Pokemon. So we have to be very careful here. Don't attach that many energy. If you're not doing a knockout, make sure you don't attach that many energy just yet. So our best bet here is to play Rock Slide, because if they don't pull out their Manaphy fast enough, we can Rock Slide for extra damage on the bench and Snipe, do extra kill extra Pokemon cards for more prizes. Because they are playing a level ball deck. So level ball deck means Rock Slide is going to kill off the Jumpluff, Rock Slide is going to kill off the 𝘖𝓲𝓚. But not the Inteleon. So let's hope we get to do our switch on the next turn and Rock Slide early. And then if they don't evolve fast enough, if they bench another Hoppip, we can actually kill it with 2 strikes. If we have a Zigzagoon, we can kill the Hoppip with 1 Rock Slide hit. So we chose to do Rare Kick, which is quite interesting. Because if they boss, they can actually do 110 damage twice. 110 damage twice against the V card. Using the Jumpluff and the Scroll. So they got the Shady Dealings for the Scroll. They got the Skiploom for this Evolution Skip. They just need to attach a Grass Energy or Lightning Energy from their hand. And that means they got double attack, 110 twice against the V card. So one 𝘿𝐿𝐴 Shady Dealings for the Tool card, 1 Shady Dealings for either the Evolution or the Boss, depending on what they have in their hand. They may not have anything in their hand that they need though. So possibly a level ball for another research to draw more cards so that they get to find. If they do a research, they can't do a boss though. So let's see. Do they have the tool card or the boss? They're down to 2 cards left in the hand. They need one or the other inside their hand. So nothing, they got a Marnie, which could be better for us, I don't know. We have a Flaaffy in our hand, I don't know. I quite like this hand though. So we just need to evolve the Flaaffy, somehow discard an energy, retreat. We got a energy already attached for Rare Kick. So if we can do Rock Slide now, it's better to do that. Let's hope we get to do it. Research for Ultra Ball or a Quick Ball to discard the Lightning. And that's all we need. Oh, we need another energy from our hand. So we need to somehow discard 1 copy, attach 1 copy for Rock Slide. We are actually resistant as well. We're resistant to grass Pokemon. That means they're doing 30 less damage. So if they have the Scroll, if we have 3 energies attached to Aggron though, I don't think it's gonna survive, right? So 160 damage minus 30, that's 130. If they play a Scroll, they can't play the Choice Belt, so 130 multiplied by 2 is enough to kill off our Aggron. So if we pass the turn attacking with Rock Slide, we're done. So it's better to kill the Jumpluff with Rock Slide than to try and kill the, what's it called again? 𝘖𝓲𝓚. I'm taking an awful long time to decide what to do because I have no idea what's the best route to take. We chose to attack with Flaaffy, Electro Ball for 60 damage, which is not bad, but I mean we can kill it off on the bench if we do Rock Slide later. Unless if they pull off Inteleon this turn, which is quite likely. Inteleon for Shady Dealings or Quick Shoot. That actually demands us to do Rock Slide 3 times to kill off the stage 2. So here comes the Scroll. So they did spinning attack. They actually get to do another knock. They did their first knockout. They get to strike a second time. We actually gave them that, which is quite silly. But we're just gonna bench that one just because we have a Bird Keeper in our hand. They can't play a supporter card after the first strike. They can't do anything but attack after after doing it once. So Flaaffy Barrage Flaaffy Barrage only allows you to attack twice. It doesn't allow you to use supporter cards twice, right? So Bird Keeper and Rock Slide. We should fare better doing Aurora Energy. I don't know what I was thinking. Should definitely have done Aurora Energy to... I think I was scared of Fan of Waves. To do Dynamotor on the bench. Or even Metal Saucer. So we got a research. And they conceded. Because we killed the Drizzle as well. We got 2 prize. They got no Hoppip on the bench. And if they had a Hoppip on the bench, we should have done our Quick Ball to search for Zigzagoon, Quick Ball, Level Ball, or even Ultra Ball to get Zigzagoon for that extra 1 damage counter to kill off the Hoppip. Only 40 HP. They didn't get their mana fee, so we actually get to strike the bench. So Rock Slide is not doing too badly against 1 price decks. If you can hit the bench if they don't pull out mana fee. So now we're up against a bit of inspired deck sleeve, deck box, coin as well. We actually got a Solgaleo coin for this deck because we are playing a metal Pokemon, a metal attacker, Aggron V, no VMAX, just the V basic for Merciless Strike. And we got our lightning deck sleeve plus the lightning / metal box, representing Flaaffy, Boltund, and Aggron. We actually got a dark type for this deck, a Zigzagoon. Water type, Lumineon. Poison type, Crobat. Nothing else. I don't think there's anything else. No Oranguru. No Snorlax. Bloody Snorlax. Excuse me. I actually built a Snorlax Morpeko deck. Morpeko single strike. It's actually not bad. Single strike Morpeko with Slowking. If you guys want to check it out, it's in my channel. So Slowking actually helps you place damage counter on Morpeko. So I think I have Houndoom in there as well, but only 2 copies. And a few more, like a lot more Slowkings to help me flip the coin. So Slowking helps you, if you flip a heads, you actually get to heal 90 damage from a Pokemon. You have to choose the Pokemon first though. That means before flipping the coin, you have to choose which Pokemon to target. The ability is called Mysterious Potion. And you get to, if you flip a tails, you get to place 3 damage counter on that Pokemon. If you flip a heads, you get to heal 90 damage from that Pokemon. So if you flip a heads, if you flip your first tails, don't use the ability a second time on the same Morpeko, because you're gonna run the risk of healing back all the damage counters that you place on that single copy, and we don't want to be healing any damage because having more damage counters on Morpeko helps you do higher damage with that attack, explosive discontent. So that's the main strategy for the deck. I actually thought of playing, I don't want to give it off, I'm not going to give off spoilers because people always steal my ideas. They stole my Indeedee deck and act as if it's their own. It's so frustrating. I built this deck first and nobody gave me credit for it. Nobody. It's so frustrating. I built the Indeedee with Crobat, with Milotic, with Chinchino. I don't think I have a Chinchino though. I think I only have Crobat, Scoop-Up-Net, Milotic, and Indeedee. That's it. Chinchino is interesting. But you're discarding a card though. I don't think it's smart. You're discarding 1 copy to draw 2. I don't think you can afford to discard that many. So we did a Marnie on them because they actually got the Milotic in their hand, which is quite silly. They should keep the Incense for later. So always Marnie as many times as you can, as early as you can, against an Indeedee deck because that's gonna destroy their hand. If they can't pull out the Milotic fast enough, they're done. That's the main power of an entity deck, is the Milotic. Always target the Milotic. That's their main weak point. Milotic, Marnie. Kill the Milotic, play a Marnie or a Judge. There's gonna be a Roxanne on the next set. Roxanne helps you shuffle both players' hand, and your opponent draws only 2 cards. You get to draw 6 cards, but they conceded. That's quite sad. But it only allows you to play that supporter. You can only play that supporter card if you have more prize cards remaining. Sorry, if your opponent has two or less prize cards remaining, I think. So it's very, very confined. You have to wait until your opponent draw at least 3 prize. I think it's only 3. So if your opponent has 3 or less prize cards remaining, you get to play Roxanne, and you get to draw 6. Your opponent draws only 2 cards after shuffling all cards from your hand back into the deck, which is a huge amount of disruption. They have 2 cards left, 3 cards from the top deck, and that's gonna destroy them. So it's basically Marnie on steroids, but you only get to play it at the final stage of the game. And now we're up against Urshifu Rapid Strike with Chinchino and Phalanx. I think it's actually the League Battle deck. So the League Battle deck is actually not too bad because they have quite a variety, a nice variety of different cards like Cheryl, Boss Order, Pulpad, Chinchino, Phalanx, Octillery. I think it's pretty strong just because they have the Cheryl and the Boss, plus that Pulpad. I mean, it's quite smart to play those cards. They got Tower of Waters and Air Balloon as well, I think. I don't think they can afford not to play a Balloon, just because Chinchino and a few other cards, I think they have a Crobat as well. I'm not sure. Chinchino is not a Rapid Strike Pokemon, so Tower of Waters doesn't work for it. It's only 1 energy retreat though, so it's not long. Okay, here comes Gale Thrust. If they do their first Gale Thrust, it's gonna be quite bad. We actually got nothing but Aggron to start with, so this is actually a really bad start for us. They got 2 energies already, so this is horrible. If they do Gale Thrust and Rapid Flow, they can actually kill off our active. We got Agatha, but that's not gonna be enough to remove the damage counter. We only remove 3. We're only transferring 3 damage counters, and 150 plus 120 is 270 minus 30. It's still enough to kill off the Aggron. So we decided to do our double turbo, knowing they have a Fan of Waves in their deck, just because we want to be hitting at least 1 damage counters on the bench to collect the knockout later with 1. Well, we actually decided to do that. That's quite smart. So Rock Slide early, but we need 2 more energies though. We need 2 more energies to do Merciless Strike. So I'm not sure if that is a smart move. It makes it more difficult for them to do Gale Thrust though, because now they need to do a double switch for Gale Thrust to hit higher damage. Otherwise, they're only doing 30 damage with Gale Thrust. So even though it's only 10 damage with a double turbo on the bench, we at least get to, if it's a V card, if they have a V card, we should be targeting the V card, because it's going to evolve and it's going to give us extra prizes. Even if it doesn't evolve, it's going to give us that extra 1. So having 1 damage counter on that Pokemon actually helps us collect the knockout much easier with 1 or 2 Zigzagoon plus the Merciless Strike. 300 damage is a lot. They got no Manaphy's, thank God. So Cheryl discarded a Cheryl. Interesting. They can't attack that easily. They need Octillery. They haven't got the Octillery. So Tower of Waters and a switch, or a retreat. They may have to discard the energy from the bench Urshifu if they want to do Tower of Waters. Oh, they can't retreat twice though. They can't retreat twice, my bad. So they need to somehow pull out a switch card with Chinchino. Evolution Incense. Urshifu. I thought they were gonna get a second Chinchino. That would make more sense, right? Second Chinchino for more draw. They may have it priced though. So I think they only have 2 copies of the Chinchino line for this list, because it's a League Battle deck. They got Stone Energy as well, interesting. So Stone Energy is gonna help them survive a bit longer against our Aggron, because Aggron does only 280 damage. But if we did Rock Slide first, we can actually collect Knockout though. But you'll see later that they actually pulled a fan. They did a fan on us at just the right time, just before we could do our first Merciless Strike, which is a bit sad, but I'm pretty sure we could play a supporter by the next turn. We could definitely play a Research or something. There we go, we got a Research, thank god. We're gonna attach the energy first, and then Old Cemetery Research. Are we gonna attach the Lightning or the Metal? Let's do the Lightning, because I think we need 2 Metal Saucer on the bench, if we can pull that off. If we attach the Metal, it's kind of pointless because we already have it. So we got Ultra Ball. I think we have no choice but to play Marnie on the next turn, but we're gonna do Ultra Ball for a second Aggron maybe. Or perhaps a Mary. I think we have to bench the Mary. I don't think we have the choice. We don't have the luxury to bench another Aggron. So either get a Crobat for more basic summons, or I think Crobat is not too bad, or get a Mary. So we chose to get a Mary, and then Rock Slide for another 10 damage on the other Minchino, which is a bit sad. We don't have an escape rope, so we're forced to do double VMAX knockout with the boss, or a V knockout, a VMAX, and a 1 price knockout somehow. So we have no Boltund, which is good news. That means we're not giving them extra prizes. They need 2 strikes to kill everything. Sorry, to kill our V card. They need 1 strike for 1 prize, obviously. So Manaphy is gonna help us a lot against Urshifu. If they pull out the boss to kill the Manaphy fast enough, they can actually draw 2 prize every single turn, and then 3 more strikes is all they need after the first Manaphy knockout. So their best bet is to boss the Manaphy, as usual. So that's why people are still playing Urshifu, just because all they need is to boss the Manaphy. But if you're playing a Manaphy in your deck, all you need is to Rescue Carrier. Add that 1 copy of Rescue in your deck, and that's it. This Rescue Carrier or another copy of Manaphy is going to help you reactivate the bench barrier, and they're going to have to boss again just to kill that 1 prize card a second time. And by that time, you would have actually done a lot of prize. You could have drawn a lot of prize just because, just by attacking with your active, V-Star, VMAX, anything, to collect a VMAX knockout. So it's going to be quite difficult for them to get around the Manaphy problem. Okay. They're doing Gale Thrust now. We have only 2 energies though, thanks to the bloody Fan of Waves. Now we got only 2 energies left, which is horrible. I don't think we should attach to the same Aggron. If we want to, if we are thinking about the long haul, we should be benching another copy, attaching to the new one, and then set up the Flaaffy line. But we can actually kill the Valings. If we have a Zigzagoon, we can kill off the Valings, or an extra prize. I don't know what's the best thing to be doing. We get to do 30 damage right now with Rock Slide. If we are planning on using Rock Slide, we need to do it 2 more times to kill off the Chinchino. So that's going to be a bit more difficult to pull off, I would say. 3 more strikes to kill the Chinchino. So this is going to be um, a big hassle. I don't think it's that smart to be targeting the one price decks, sorry, the one price cards. If we try to kill the Chinchino for the final 2 price, we can actually do a VMAX knockout, 2 Chinchino kills and 1 Phalanx on the bench for all 6 draw. But that's actually not smart because we need so many Rock Slides to kill off both the Chinchino. Way too many Rock Slides. So the reason I did the Phalanx knockout is because I wanted to draw a price card. I wanted to draw something from the price card, and basically you're forcing them to also evolve the Urshifu. If they don't evolve, you're gonna collect all the 5 prize with all you need is 1 VMAX and 1 V knockout. So it's better for them if they evolve. But evolving is actually not good for us because we need a lot of damage just to kill that. If they play Cheryl at just the right time, they can Gale Thrust for the win. So they can't play Rapid Flow, but they don't actually need that attack. They don't need it just because they can kill Aggron with 2 strikes. So I think they're gonna do, they may attack with the second Urshifu. I'm not sure what they're gonna do here. We have to think about our second Aggron. So they're killing off this one, which is horrible. We have to think about our second Aggron now. Are we going to be able to pull it off? We got a Stormy Mountain. We're gonna play the Zigzagoon. I think we should just target that one. We got the second V. So now we just need to attach fast. Are we able to do it? I'm checking my deck like crazy. So we got 1 last Metal Energy, we got 2 more Metal Saucers, no Raihan in the deck. Always important to check your deck, check what resources you have to spare, what you get to use, and what you are able to do on the next turn. But don't over prepare though. Over planning always spells your defeat because sometimes you don't need to do so much to win the game. Sometimes it's a clear path. And if it's a clear path, always take it. Don't overcomplicate things. I've played a few games where I overcomplicate and actually lost the game when I could have won so easily. Which is just the worst feeling ever. When you threw a game trying to cheat the system, trying to, prepare for a knockout when they couldn't even do it. So they got a Stone Energy on the bench, but if they don't heal it, we can still kill it though. They already have 5 damage counters. So I suppose that's why I placed the damage counter with Zigzagoon on the Urshifu. Just because they have a stone, I was preparing for that Stone Energy. 5 damage counter is just right. We do 280 plus 5, that's just 330, just right to kill off the Urshifu, unless if they play Big Charm. So Big Charm is going to help them survive the Merciless Strike hit. They got a switch. They're gonna kill off something right now. Are they gonna boss? If they boss kill the Menifee, they can do Rapid Flow twice for the win. So that means They need 3 more turns if they kill the Manaphy. You just need 2 more turns if they kill the Manaphy on the next turn. If they try to kill the Aggron, they need 3 more turns because they need 2 strikes for the V knockout and another strike for the last prize. So I think their best bet is to boss the Manaphy. We got an Aurora energy and a Metal energy. So we should be drawing as much as we can from the deck. Drawing out as many cards so that we get to play our Merciless Strike this turn. We actually have 5 more prize cards, so this is actually quite bad. It's looking quite bad for us because they got 3 remaining prizes. We should be winning against an Urshifu. I mean, we're doing so much damage and they are actually not able to hit our bench just because Manaphy is in play from the start. So if we lose this one, it's going to be quite embarrassing. Because Urshifu against Manaphy, if they win, is going to be a huge disgrace for whoever is playing the Manaphy. So we got a Metal Saucer but no energy from our hand. I think we attached from the deck though. Sorry, I think we attached from our hand just now. So Ultra Ball for our Crobat. So since they're playing a Cheryl, we should have actually kept our Rocky Helmet, but I did not prepare for that. I wasn't anticipating. I was definitely preparing for a Cheryl, but I wasn't smart enough to keep that Rocky Helmet. But at least we got triple prize draw this turn. If we discard the Milo though, we may not get anything else, but I'm not sure if we need anything else because they can't even do a knockout on the next turn. They cannot afford to kill us with the second Urshifu. They need a Cheryl. They need a Cheryl before the Gale Thrust, and it's quite easy to pull it off with their Chinchinos. So it's gonna down to be whether we get to strike it first or they get to Cheryl first. If they Cheryl, we're basically screwed by a billion. Okay, Octillery, what are they gonna search for? I think they're trying to compress the deck so that they to increase the chances of them drawing out either the Pulpad or another Cheryl. So remove everything you don't need from your deck by searching for them, by discarding them with Chinchino, and Tool Scrapper is actually destroying us a lot. So we're playing a lot of different cards: Stadium, Item, abilities, Trainer, Supporter. We're playing a lot of different varieties just to help Aggron attach energy, fast, and also attack fast. Not only that, also to help it do extra damage with Merciless Strike. They are playing a combo deck as well. So a lot of different supporter cards: Item, Tool, Special Energy, Stone Energy. They got Tool Scrapper to remove that one copy of Tool Scrapper and one copy of Fan of Waves to disrupt us, and we actually needed that air balloon, so it's gonna be quite destructive. We got a Bird Keeper though, so I don't think it's that bad. They did a Pulpad, so before the Chinchino, that means they're probably gonna draw it out now. I don't think they play a supporter yet. If they play a Cheryl, they can quite easily do a Tower of Waters and Gale Thrust this turn. If they do that, it's gonna be super bad. So it was definitely a big mistake discarding the Rocky Helmet, because Rocky Helmet could actually save us against the Cheryl, because they need actually 2 strikes to kill our V card. So after the first strike, we just need 1 more Zigzagoon. I don't think we have any more Zigzagoon. So maybe 𝘿𝐿𝐷 to place that extra damage. If we attack it though. If we attack it with Merciless Strike after their first attack, we got 320 damage on the Urshifu. That means if they don't pull a second Cheryl, they are gonna do a double knockout, killing both the Urshifu and the Aggron with that either Gale Thrust or GMAX Rapid Flow, because they're gonna incur another 2 damage counter hitting our Aggron with Rocky Helmet the second time. So if we attach the Rocky Helmet after that turn though, because they actually have a Tool Scrapper, so we actually, if we keep it in our hand, it's better to attach it late. So I don't think we would have the foresight had we kept the Rocky Helmet to attach it late. They could play the Tool Scrapper just after we play our tool card, both the tool cards, so I think they actually chose to play the Tool Scrapper. Seeing that we actually discarded our Rocky Helmet, they were trying to take the opportunity to make us regret our choice, I suppose. Okay, here comes the Cheryl. Definitely gonna pull it out this turn. And all they need is a Scoop Up Net or Air Balloon to do Gale Thrust. We got our second Aggron though. Surprise, surprise, we actually got our second Aggron on the bench ready to go. So we're gonna Flaaffy twice on the next turn, and then we can actually retreat with the active to discard the lightning energies if we don't have enough in the discard pile for Dynamotor. We can retreat and then Bird Keeper after the Dynamotor to do Merciless Strike. Or we could do our Rock Slide first. They could actually have a few more Crushing Hammers in their deck. So I'm not sure if we should be attaching more energies to the bench, which is going to be our active the next turn. So they did Cheryl Gale Thrust, which is our worst nightmare. So they got 3 prize cards remaining though, so I don't think it's looking too well for them. We got one last prize card. So we got no escape rope. If we had an escape rope, they're so done, right? Escape rope is all we need. Kill the Chinchino on the bench. Anything on the bench really, we got Merciless Strike. But we don't have any ways of placing damage counters, I suppose. So we're forced to do either Rock Slide or Merciless Strike this turn. I think it's better to just Rock Slide. Try to kill off the Chinchino. We can actually do Rock Slide twice more for our second Aggron, just because they need 2 more strikes to kill it. So Rock Slide the first time for this Aggron, Rock Slide twice more on the second Aggron. Right? Rock Slide Gale Thrust, Rock Slide Gale Thrust, Rock Slide Rapid Flow. Yep. That means we get to pull off a Chinchino knockout if they don't. But Cheryl is gonna heal everything though. If they play another Cheryl, they're gonna heal everything from the Chinchino as well. But they got 3 cards remaining. They got 3 final cards in their deck, and only 7 cards left in their hand. I don't think they have enough resources to pull off enough switches and Cheryl to do Gale Thrust that many times. So they had to do Cheryl, they're done. No Cheryl means they are dead. We got Merciless Strike, we got Bird Keeper, we got even an Aurora Energy. So we're gonna attach the Aurora. Well played. That was quite close though. I'm a bit surprised that it got down to the wire just because of that one card Cheryl. Cheryl is a bit broken. Chinchino Cheryl, because it's perfect, right? You get to draw with your ability, you get to heal your Pokemon with the supporter. So that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Have a great day and bye for now, lovely people. Enjoy your life.